Hey, what's up, y'all? This is CoolStoryBrobat bringing you another UU Open Round 1 replay. Highlight match here. Dundies versus Passion, as they go about on the Smogon forums. When you look at these two teams here, you can tell easily these are like polar opposites of the spectrum here. Dundies has brought a very fat, very chunky, tanky semi-stall here. You know, he's got the Blissey, the Alamomola, the Quagsire, the Mega Steelix, the Togekiss, and the Scarf Crocodile. I'm pretty sure this is a Scarf Crocodile, and that's why I call it semi-stall. Scarf Crocodile is essential for pursuit trapping various offensive threats to stall teams that they typically cannot outspeed otherwise. But the key one out of all these is Circuitry, because a Tail Glow Circuitry versus a stall team is like a microwave to a chicken dinner. That was a horrible analogy, but the point I'm making is that Crocodile basically traps and kills Circuitry for stall teams because it's just that much of a threat to them otherwise, and it just cooks the whole team. It also helps against certain things like Mega Pidgeot and Swords Dance Terrakion to a lesser degree, but that's besides the point. Now, Passion here, on the other hand, has brought a very offensive looking team here. You have a Volt Turn core in Rotom Cut and Mega Beedrill. You know, you have Bulky and Polion, most likely Sugar Berry, because this team looks like it kind of hates Mega Aerodactyl. You have potentially a Swords Dance Gliscor, if not Rocks, with Defog and Polion. You have, I'm pretty sure this is a Scarf Infernape. Based on the team composition, it looks like this wants to be a Scarf Infernape. And lastly, you have a Crawdon. And out of all the things on this team, I think Rotom Cut and Crawdon are the scariest things to the stall team. Because, I mean, in the last replay that I did, Rotom Cut was the thing that was holding a Z move, but I think this time the Crawdon is holding a Z move. And if that's a Z move Crawdon with Waterium Z, Z Crabhammer does a lot of damage, even the Quagsire, which is otherwise a decent Crawdon switch in. Like, Adamant Crawdon with Z Crabhammer would do 82 to 97% with Crabhammer, while Jolly still does a whopping 75 to 89%. And not to mention, in that case, if Crawdon is holding the Z move, then Rotom Cut might be Specs or something like that, so it can use Trick to cripple another member on the stall team. So how this is going to play out is how well Dundies can manage his defensive threats against Passion's offensive threats and pressure. So turn 1, Mega Steelix lead here versus the Empoleon lead. Very unfortunate. Dundies lets this stay in to take a Scald just to fire off an Earthquake against the Sugar Berry Empoleon. And it gets the burn, so Earthquake does like jack all to this Empoleon here. Alamomola is going to come in, go for Protect against the Rotom Cut, see what he's working with here. Eats the Volt Switch. Good lord. I know Alamomola has access to Wish and Regenerator, but still, you don't want your Alamomola taking that much chip damage that early in the game. So Crawdon comes in, it's going to Swords Dance as Dundies goes to Quagsire. The Hydro Vortex, the Z Crabhammer. It's not enough juice to kill it because Quagsire's unaware makes it immune to the Swords Dance boosts. However, Dundies is smart, sees this coming, recovers immediately, and basically Passion wasted the Z Crabhammer way too early in my opinion. A lot of these plays I'm not going to talk about what happens in the turn because it's a stall game, you know, but let's focus. So Steelix is going to double out back into Alamomola as Passion goes to the Empoleon. We're going to knock off the Alamomola's leftovers, and Alamomola is going to throw up a Wish here, and Empoleon's going to set up the Rocks, go for a Scald here. No, does get a burn unfortunately, I'm sorry. It does get a burn here. Alamomola catches its Wish in the meantime. Switches out, goes into Blissey, kind of the most reliable answer here to this Empoleon, which is kind of annoying. It's trigger happy with the burns, which I wish this was my Empoleon because I never get burns with it, but that's besides the point. So Passion's gonna switch out, go into this Gliscor, you know, try to set up on this Blissey, as Blissey goes for Heal Bell to cure his teammates of all those burns that were just inflicted. Togekiss is gonna come in, most likely to defog these hazards away. However, this is a Swords Dance Gliscor, and it's packing Ice Fang. Ice Fang doesn't have enough juice to even 2-hit KO at +2, but it still hits pretty hard. It's gonna pressure Togekiss into having a roost here. But there's a flinch. It flinches. Passion expects Dundies to switch out to Quagsire here. Makes a smart double, goes to Rotom Cut. Dundies has to double out into his Blissey, catches him with the trick. very well executed set of turns that's going to set the tone for this battle, because Dundies is really starting to play from behind here now. The Blissey is locked with the choice specs. Locking in a seismic toss, this gives Passion a free opportunity to get momentum with a stab U-turn from Mega Beedrill. Hits very hard, brings in Crawdon on the Blissey. So Dundies goes to Alamomola, takes the knockoff because its item had already been removed way earlier. Alamomola's gonna wish, gonna pass the wish over to Blissey. I really wish Passion had Leaf Stormed here. Volt switch to get the momentum. I really wish he Leaf Stormed. That would have killed the Blissey. And you know, the play wouldn't have cost him anything. So Dundies is gonna sacrifice his Togekiss here to this Empoleon. Kind of a rough play to make because now you have no default user. However, Passion is gonna sacrifice his Empoleon to this Crocodile, which was an equally questionable play. Could have just hard switched Rotom Cut into that, honestly, because it wouldn't have taken a whole lot from knockoff and it was immune to Earthquake. And Empoleon was the key to winning this battle because it had rocks. So basically, this battle got prolonged. I mean, I'm not going to say it was a horrible misplay, but it kind of extended the battle a bit here, and you're going to see why soon enough, because there's going to be a lot of switching that takes place here, a lot of aggressive doubles, and I mean, Dundies is kind of in a bad spot already, because he lost his Hazard Setter in Steelix, he lost his default user in Togekiss, and, you know, it's looking rough right now. But if Passion had just conserved the Empoleon to set up rocks later on in the game, this could go by a whole lot quicker, a whole lot more effectively. But instead, we're going to get this interchange of Dundies repeatedly going to Alamomola and passing a wish to Blissey to sponge a hit, fire off a seismic toss or something, or a heal bell. But in the midst of all this, Mega Beedrill comes in, sets up the Toxic Spikes. Nice technique. Toxic Spikes Mega Beedrill. Underrated set. Because this is Gen 7 and Mega Beedrill doesn't need to run Protect anymore, that fourth move slot is freed up. You can run a variety of interesting moves here. This one is Toxic Spikes. Now, if Passion had gone for a second layer of Toxic Spikes, this game would also be in the bag, because something like Quagsire wouldn't be able to sit in front of Gliscor anymore. The Toxic Spikes would eventually cause Quagsire to succumb to it, and it would have and then the rest of the team would have lost to SD Gliscor. But only one layer of Toxic Spike was put off, and even though Quagsire will be offensively pressured because it is poisoned, it is still capable of easily recovering the damage off of that, as you can see here. Quagsire fires off a Toxic, predicting Rotom Cut to come in. Passion is going to switch to Rotom Cut here on this play because he's expecting Quagsire to recover. It's kind of forced to. If Dundies were to lose Quagsire, he would pretty much lose this game from where he's at right now. So Rotom Cut's going to fire off a Leaf Storm and going to subsequently Volt Switch on this Blissey's face. Hard Switch out on this Blissey's face as it goes for Soft Boil, conserving PP most likely. Blissey switches out, goes back to the Alamomola, which is now poisoned unfortunately. Takes the knockoff like it's nothing, but it is now poisoned. Passion's going to switch out here, go to the Gliscor because it takes Jack from Scald. It's poisoned already, so it's not even afraid of burns. It can set up SDs. I really wish that Passion would have just set up another layer of Toxic Spikes here. There's so many things you could have done to cut down the number of turns that this game would have had to take, but this is the route we have to go, unfortunately. So Quagsire is going to come in on this Gliscor yet again. It's going to sit there. He's going to switch out, go to his Mega Beedrill as Quagsire goes for Recover. Passion U-turns on this Beedrill's face, goes back into the Gliscor. I think what he's trying to do here is just force this Quagsire to keep recovering, because at the very least, I think Passion could just win the long game if he doesn't misplay, because all he has to do is just let this Quagsire run itself out of Recover, and then Gliscor just comes in and starts cooking. But in spite of the critical Scald, the Gliscor is still here, it's still standing strong, still standing firm. You know, just eating Scalds, taking roosts, getting that health back, and just ultimately just sitting there, not really taking a whole lot, but not really doing a whole lot either, unfortunately. And it's kind of looking like a stalemate. He's gonna Earthquake here. The Quagsire is gonna be forced to recover yet again from where it's at, and this pretty much gives Passion another opportunity to just go for another Earthquake. Just keep going for Earthquake, keep forcing his Quagsire to have to recover. Quagsire fires off a Toxic, expecting the Rotom Cut to come in, expecting a switch somewhere in the line. And he finally gets rewarded with his prediction. He catches the Crawdon coming in on the switch. However, Crawdon is not going to be able to do much to this Quagsire either, and especially not this Alomomola. So it's looking like a free wish is going to be passed either to Quagsire or to Blissey. To counteract this, Passion is going to go to the Rotom Cut. This means that they're going to go to Blissey to catch the wish. Passion is going to Volt Switch, go back into Infernape, and now this is where it's interesting because I've been wanting to see what set this Infernape is. Like I said, I'm presuming it's Scarf. Yeah, it did 30%. That's definitely a Scarf Infernape for sure. But where it stands right now, it's doing enough damage that, you know, Alomomola is going to be forced to have to Wish and Protect here. But it doesn't have enough juice to protect itself after the Wish, so it gets a Wish off. Quagsire is going to catch the Wish, obviously. Gliscor is going to come in to absorb the incoming Toxic. So Dundies is in a really bad spot here because he lost Alomomola now. So he can't even play the shenanigans of Wish passing into Blissey anymore. The team is slowly falling apart. He's slowly losing steam. It's highly inevitable that, you know, Dundies is not going to be able to pull this off with a choice Specs Blissey. A choice. And he knocked off the Specs on Blissey. So, yeah, pretty much Blissey's almost dead. It switches out. Dundies goes into Quagsire, takes the knockoff, finally knocks the Quagsire's leftovers off, takes a massive amount from it, and by this point, Dundies is just sacrificing everything. He's trying to summon the Egyptian God cards because he just sacrificed 3 Mons within a set of consecutive turns back to back. Basically, it's over now. Yeah, Infernape just came in, took Dundies' cookies off just by clicking close combat 3 times at the end of the game there. So, good game Passion, good game Dundies. Like I said, I think Passion did a lot of misplays here that, you know, prolonged this battle by many more turns than it needed to. First was letting Empoleon randomly die when it had Stealth Rock. Second was not going for a second layer of Toxic Spikes with Beedrill. But, I mean, needless to say, I think Dundies made some bad misplays early in the game that kind of cost him. You know, Passion took advantage of the switch to Blissey and caught it with a trick from Rotom Cut. You know, Dundies had let Mega Steelix stay in to take a Scald on turn 1 from an Empoleon. My guess is that he was assuming Empoleon was just going to set up rocks, but, you know, I mean, it's a Mega Steelix. He's not, I mean, and he's a Sugar Berry Empoleon, so he's not going to be scared to Scald you early, of course. And another one was, you know, sacrificing the Togekiss. He kind of had to let it go just to get those rocks off the field with Defog. And the flinch with Ice Fang was unfortunate, but that's what happened. But either way, that was a pretty good game. Let's take a look at how the second game in this series goes. Alright, so game 2 out this joint. I'm going to keep the team analysis kind of brief because this is not a very long game, as you can tell by the teams. If I was to summarize Dundies' thought process, I would probably be like, you know what, forget Star, bro. I got flexed on. That is not my cup of tea. That is not what I'm doing. I'm not trying to let this be a shutout in game 2. I'm trying to take this to game 3 and maybe come back real quick. So this time, I'm bringing the Mega Beedrill. I'm bringing the offensive threats. I'm hitting hard. I'm gonna stick to my guns this time, and they are popping off in these streets. Well, at least that's what I'd be thinking if I was Dundies. But yeah, Dundies has brought a very offensive looking team in contrast to what he had last game. He's got a Mega Beedrill, he's got a Conkeldurr, he's got a Talonflame, he's got a Crocodile, he's got a Latias. It's all scary offensive threats on his side, and an Empoleon because it's a pretty good sponge. Now, Passion here on the other hand has brought their own equally threatening offensive team. Now, Passion's team is kind of held back by a defensive core of Mantine and Mega Steelix, so it's not as offensive, but make no mistake, Mega Steelix and Mantine is a very good defensive core, and I could tell just by looking at it that this core is going to help against Dundies' team a lot because it checks Latias, it checks Mega Beedrill, it checks Crocodile, and to a degree it even checks Talonflame pretty hard, so it's really going to be Dundies' ability to get past his defensive core and overwhelm Passion's offensive threats and keep the momentum up this game. So the real question is, Dundies took an L, but will he bounce back? Let's find out. So kicking it off in game 2 already, Conkeldurr led by Passion Dundies leads the Mega Beedrill, looking rough already because he's gonna U-turn on his Conqueror, go to his Crocodile. Most likely he was hoping that because it's a Beedrill, Passion would not click the Fighting Stab. He goes to Crocodile, get the Intimidate off, and then most likely double out. But unfortunately, Passion catches him 2 for 2 with the Drain Punch on Crocodile, then the Facade on Talonflame, goes to his own Crocodile to Pursuit Trap the Talonflame. Dang! 3 hard plays in a row to set the tone very early in this game. Dundies is going to go to his own Crocodile on the enemy Crocodile, set up his Rocks here. So Dundies isn't even Scarf Crocodile, he's actually Rocks Crocodile offensive. Pretty nice set. He's going to knock off the Mantine after setting up his Rocks. He's going to go to his Mega Beedrill, try to pressure the Mantine, keep it from clicking Defog safely. And he went for the Poison Jab. Mega Steelix comes in obviously. He's going to Mega Evolve. Here's Beedrill, switches out with U-turn. And now it's kind of a matter of how Dundies is going to play this out because, you know, he's in a sore spot this early already. You know, Empoleon comes in. He goes for Roar on the Steelix. I don't know why he didn't Scald. I guess he was scared of Mantine coming in. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. He was scared of Mantine coming in with the Water Absorb and just completely ruining his thing. Because Mantine is a problem. So, Empoleon's going to die to the Chandelure that was brought in. Latios is going to come in, hits the Mega Steelix switching in with the Z Psychic. Doesn't do a lot because especially defensive Mega Steelix is a behemoth defensively. Steelix Heavy Slam does a lot to Conqueror to indicate that this is a fast offensive variant. However, he's going to double out, go back into his Latios on the Chandelure switch in. And pretty much, I think the most he could do here is fire off a Draco Meteor or a Psychic and just hope for the best. Because he's in a tight spot. Crocodile comes in, most likely going to Pursuit Trap or knock off his Latios. Yeah, he's going to knock off here. Kills the Latios. It's a free switch to Conqueror, but Conqueror has to predict at 100%. So the Mantine is going to come in. He pretty much is sacking Mantine to the Facade because he could just revenge kill a Primarina. Primarina's in good position to just blow something the heck up. However, Oceanic Operetta, Primarium Z, I don't know if that's how you even say it, but Primarina's signature Z move basically just murdered that. Yeah, it was overkill, but it was a done deal. And Dundies, unfortunately, that was the end of game 2. It did not go as expected. It did not go as planned. You know, Passion just pretty much outplayed him on all levels, especially in those first few turns of the game. He had just made some plays on him with Conqueror, getting it out early, getting it out aggressively. If Dundies had led with Talonflame, you know, this game could have gone a lot differently. But I can see why he would lead with Mega Beedrill just to get the momentum early. And, well, unfortunately, he had ironically lost the momentum early and had been struggling to catch back up to it all game. So this is going to be a loss for Dundies. Congratulations, Passion, for moving on to round 2. Thanks for playing, everybody, and thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, favorite, and stay tuned for the next video. Peace.